Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to take those really tricky skills and, break them down into steps you can actually use.
hmm
And today, we're diving into something huge for language learners, especially if you're kind of hovering around that B1, B2 level. It's that mental translation trap.
Oh, it's definitely more than just annoying. It's exhausting, isn't it? That feeling. Yeah, we call it the internal tennis match.
Tennis match, I like that.
Yeah, you hear English, right? And bam, your brain volleys it over to your native language.
Okay.
Then you carefully craft this perfect, safe answer in your mother tongue.
Making sure the grammar's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Check in everything. And only then do you translate it back into English before you actually say anything.
Phew. It sounds slow just describing it.
It is slow, it's clunky, it burns so much mental energy, and honestly, it just makes you nervous, like you're always playing catch up.
Right, that lag, that constant buffering in your head. And we see it as probably the biggest thing holding learners at that intermediate stage back from really truly sounding fluent.
Yeah.
So our mission for this deep dive is pretty straightforward. We want to give you a kind of shortcut, help you understand why your brain clings to translating,
But why is important?
and then, more crucially, give you practical, step-by-step ways to build the habit of thinking directly in English. We want you to skip that whole exhausting detour.
And we've really dug into the expert advice here, stuff specifically for learners like you who, you know the rules, you understand a lot, but that's spontaneous speech. That's the struggle.
Right.
So our sources mix insights from like how the brain learns language neurolinguistics with habit science and what language teachers know works. We're going way beyond just saying, oh, just think in English.
Yeah, because that's not helpful advice on its own, is it?
Not at all.
Yeah.
We need the how, the actual practices that make automatic thought, well, possible.
Okay, let's unpack this then. We have to start with the basics, right? The core issue. Why does this amazing, efficient brain, we have this lazy computer, we sometimes call it, why does it make life harder by translating everything?
Yeah, let's clearly define the bad guy here. Mental translation. It really is that three-step process you described.
Okay.
Step 1, you hear or read English.
Yeah.
Input comes in.
Got it.
Step 2, your mind instantly flips it into your native language. That's where it feels like the understanding happens and where you start building your response.
You're right, the comfort zone.
Exactly. Then step 3, you translate that response back out into English. That whole internal loop.
Yeah.
That's the bottleneck. That's what eats up the time.
It makes sense when you put it like that. The brain is built for efficiency, right? It looks for the quickest path.
Always.
So when you're starting out your native language, the one you've spoken your whole life, it feels like this incredibly reliable bridge or maybe a safety net.
Bridge, safety net, support system, comfort. That's the word. Comfort is key here.
Ah, okay.
When you first tackle English, your mother tongue is the only system you have that gives you instant, effortless access to complex ideas, nuances, vocabulary. It's tied to everything, your memories, your feelings, how you think deeply.
So faced with something new and hard, like speaking a foreign language?
It just snaps back to what it knows best.
Yeah.
It feels safer there, psychologically.
It's that lazy computer thing again. The brain's doing a quick calculation. How much energy does this take?
Precisely. Thinking directly in English, especially at first, takes real conscious effort. You're searching for words, checking grammar, wrestling with sentence structure.
While thinking in your native language is automatic, zero effort.
Right. So the brain, always optimizing, just goes, nope, default setting, use the bridge, it's faster.
But the irony is, while it feels faster inside your head because the native language processing is instant, that double translation step, English to native back to English, massively slows down your actual ability to communicate, to have a real conversation.
If you want to be spontaneous, yeah. If you want to just chat naturally, mental translation is like dragging an anchor behind you.
Yeah, I definitely remember that feeling. You asked about my early struggles. I vividly recall being in a language class and someone asked me something simple like, "What did you do last weekend?"
Okay, yeah. Common question.
And the silence just stretched.
Yeah.
It felt huge. Not because I didn't understand, but because my brain was running this whole internal movie,
Translating the question.
translating the question, figuring out the right past tense verbs in my language, translating those back, checking the word order.
Oh, wow.
By the time I was ready with my perfectly crafted sentence, the conversation had completely moved on. I just felt stuck, paralyzed.
That paralysis. That is the cost of that internal speed. It feels fast in your head, but it's slow externally.
And that paralysis you mentioned, it's also tied up with fear, right? The fear of making mistakes.
Hugely. Especially for B1, B2 learners. You often have a really good grasp of grammar theory by then. You know what the correct sentence should look like.
So you worry. You worry about saying it wrong, using the wrong preposition, getting the pronunciation slightly off.
And that worry becomes a defense mechanism. Your mind pulls back to the safety of your native language where, guess what? You don't make those kinds of mistakes.
It feels protected there.
It is protected. The internal editor says, hold on, don't speak until it's perfect. But to get it perfect, it has to go through the translation, the checking, the retranslating.
So the fear keeps the translation cycle going. If you're worried about messing up.
Your brain will keep pushing you back to that safety net. It's a vicious cycle.
And here's the kicker. The paradox we found in the sources.
Yeah.
The very thing you're trying to avoid making a mistake is actually prolonged by the thing you're doing to avoid it, the translation.
Exactly. The cure is the opposite of what feels intuitive.
Yeah.
Thinking directly in English, even if it's simpler or slightly flawed English, that's what builds confidence.
How so?
Because it helps you believe in yourself. You start to internalize that communication is the goal, not perfection. You worry less about mistakes because you're actually communicating.
Confidence comes from doing, not just knowing the rules.
Absolutely. The more you try to speak directly, the more your brain learns, okay, I used the wrong word there, but they still understood me. The world didn't end.
It's like slowly cutting the cord between the fear of making a mistake and relying on your native language.
It really is. You have to get comfortable with imperfection. It's far better to jump in with a simple, maybe slightly clumsy sentence than to stay silent for 5 seconds while your internal translator works overtime.
Okay, so we get the why. It's habit, it's the brain's efficiency drive, and it's fear. Now, let's get practical. How do we actually start breaking this cycle?
Right. The first big mental shift you need to make is understanding that thinking in English is a habit. It's not magic.
Not a switch you flip overnight.
Definitely not. No one just wakes up one morning thinking perfectly in English. It takes consistent, small, daily actions. You have to practice until it feels normal, automatic.
Like building muscle.
Exactly like building muscle. Or like learning to ride a bike. That's a great analogy.
Okay, explain that one.
Well, when you first learn to ride, you're intensely focused on everything, right? Balancing, steering, pedaling.
Yeah, you're consciously thinking about every single movement.
That's the translation phase. You need those training wheels, your native language, to even get started. But you practice, you wobble, you might fall.
Definitely fall.
Right. But eventually, balancing becomes automatic. Muscle memory kicks in. You stop thinking about balancing and start thinking about where you're going.
Ah, I see. So the goal is to train that English muscle until the basic thinking part doesn't require conscious effort anymore.
Precisely. Until it becomes automatic.
So how do we build this habit? Where do we start?
Like any habit, we use the habit loop. Trigger, routine, reward. And the easiest way to create a trigger is to link English practice to something you already do every single day. Your existing routine.
Okay, piggybacking on current habits. That makes sense.
We call it the routine trick. And it needs to start small, often just inside your own head. Okay, trigger. Waking up, routine. As you're doing things, describe them in your mind in English.
Silently.
So, the alarm is loud, I'm hitting snooze, that kind of thing.
Exactly. I'm getting out of bed now. My feet are cold. I need to put on socks. Okay, walking to the bathroom, brushing my teeth.
And the key is not translating this from your native language first.
It's absolutely critical.
Yeah.
You're trying to link the action directly to the English phrase. If you catch yourself thinking the thought in your native language first, then the translation cycle starts. It's a Just pause, reset, and deliberately think it in English.
That sounds like hard work
It
initially.
is. It's retraining your brain. It's like forcing yourself to use your left hand if you're right-handed. It feels awkward, but it builds the new pathway.
Okay, so internal monologue during routines. What else?
Expand it outwards. Naming the world. Look around you, wherever you are. Waiting for the bus. Sitting in traffic. Look at things and name them in English in your head.
Red car, tall building, bus stop sign. That dog is cute.
Perfect. Sky's gray today. Looks like rain. I hope I brought my... Oh, wait, what's that word for the rain thing? Umbrella.
Right, umbrella. But let's say you don't know the word umbrella. What do you do?
Panic. Grab my phone translator.
No, don't grab the phone. That reinforces the translation habit. Just skip it. Or better yet, describe it using simple English you do know.
Okay, so instead of umbrella, I'd think the thing you use when it rains. Or that cover to stay dry.
Exactly. That's a crucial skill. It forces your mind to stay in English, to work within the language, even when there's a gap. You're building bridges within English itself, not relying on the old native language bridge.
Okay, internal self-talk and naming things. That makes sense as a starting point. But you need fuel for this, right? You can't just rely on the words you already know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the single biggest engine for breaking the translation habit is massive amounts of input.
Input meaning.
All the English you hear, read, or see. Music, podcasts, movies, TV shows, YouTube videos, books, articles, signs on the street, ads, everything.
So just surrounding yourself with English.
Pretty much. Consistent input keeps your brain swimming in English for longer periods.
Yeah, we talk about
Uh-huh.
immersion, right? You don't have to move to an English-speaking country for immersion. You can create it in your daily life.
Because if you only use English for your 1-hour lesson,
Yeah.
your brain spends the other 23 hours happily defaulting back to its comfort zone. You need to tip the balance.
Okay, so more listening, more reading. And there was a specific tech tip mentioned in the sources. Changing device language.
Oh, yes. This one feels a bit scary for some people, but it's incredibly effective. Change your phone language, your computer OS language, your social media interface.
Oh.
Change it all to English.
Ooh, I can feel the resistance already. But I won't understand the settings. I'll mess something up.
That initial discomfort, that's the resistance you need to push through. Yes, it'll be confusing for maybe a day or two. You might struggle to find settings or Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
But think about what's happening. You're forcing yourself to interact with English in a purely functional way. It stops being lesson material and starts being how I use my phone.
You learn, download, or connect through sheer necessity and context, not by memorizing a translation list.
Exactly. It creates that direct link between the function and the English word. No middleman.
And the great thing about input, like watching movies or listening to music, you don't have to understand every single word, do you?
Not at all.
Huh.
Your brain is incredibly good at picking things up from context. It learns rhythm, intonation, common phrases, sentence patterns, even if you miss, say, 30% of the vocabulary.
So just relaxing with English content you genuinely find interesting is actually productive.
Vitally productive. Let your brain soak in it. Don't stress about understanding everything. Enjoyment is key.
Okay, let's connect this to memory. The sources mentioned something about emotions speeding things up.
Yes, this is fascinating. Our brains are wired to remember things better when strong emotions are involved. It's a survival mechanism, really.
So if you learn an English word or phrase during a really funny moment, or a scary one, or something deeply moving,
That word bypasses the normal, effortful learning process and gets hardwired into your long-term memory much faster. It sticks.
like learning slang, maybe? You often pick that up in funny or surprising situations.
Slang is a perfect example. You rarely sit down and translate slang terms, do you?
No, you just hear someone use it maybe in a dramatic way like, dude, I am absolutely starving, and they're clutching their stomach.
Right. You feel the exaggeration, maybe you laugh. You connect that intense feeling of hunger directly to the phrase, I am starving.
And then next time you're really hungry, that phrase just pops into your head automatically.
Exactly. No need to think, how do I say very hungry in English?
Yeah.
The emotional tag made the connection direct.
So the practical takeaway is Try to find or create situations where you're using English emotionally, even in your self-talk.
Yeah, engage with media that makes you laugh or cry. Tell yourself stories in English that have some emotional weight. That connection between meaning, feeling, and the English words themselves acts like super glue for your memory, cutting out the need for translation later.
Okay, so phase one is about getting those basic building blocks in place. The internal monologue, naming things, getting lots of input, making those emotional connections. But we can't just stay with single words or super simple sentences forever.
Right. Phase two is all about complexity, moving from just labeling your world chair, table, coffee to connecting ideas into more sophisticated thoughts.
This is where we need to start building the actual structure of thought, isn't it? Using the grammar we know.
Precisely. And the absolute key tools for this are linking words and connectors.
We're talking about words like because, but, so, and the basics.
Those are fundamental, yes. But we need to go beyond the absolute basics. Think about words like although, however, therefore, consequently, moreover, while, whereas.
Okay, why are those so important for stopping translation?
Because they create complex relationships between ideas. They build sentences that are structurally harder to just map directly onto your native language and back again.
Ah, so simple sentences are easy to translate one-to-one.
Often, yes. I am tired. I will sleep. Easy to flip back and forth. But if you think, although I am tired, I need to finish this report before I can sleep, you're using connectors that force a specific logical structure in English.
So trying to translate that whole complex thought back to your native language, then back again, it becomes really inefficient.
Exactly. The native language bridge starts to buckle under the weight of that complexity. Your brain is almost forced to process the relationship, the contrast with, although the sequence with, before, directly in English, because it's just too much work to translate it.
That's a brilliant insight. So consciously practicing sentences using these more advanced connectors is like weightlifting for your thinking and English
It
muscle.
really is. Focus on using one or two new connectors each week in your internal thoughts, or maybe a short diary entry. I wanted to go running, however, it started raining. It rained all day. Consequently, the garden is very wet.
Okay, connectors are crucial. What's next for building complexity?
Actively practicing, describing and imagining details. Don't just settle for the first, simplest thought.
So instead of just thinking, there is a cat.
Push yourself.
Yeah.
There's a fluffy ginger cat sleeping peacefully on the warm windowsill. Add adjectives, add adverbs, add clauses. Paint a picture in your mind using English.
And this is where we really need to leverage those B1, B2 grammar structures we've learned, right? Like different tenses.
Absolutely. You need to practice using English to talk about more than just the immediate present. Think about.
Okay, like plans and wishes.
Exactly. Use the future tenses, use conditionals. Think things like, tomorrow I'm going to try that new recipe. Or if I save enough money, I would like to visit Japan one day. Practice expressing hopes, intentions, possibilities.
And the flip side, memories. Talking about the past.
Yes, use past simple, past continuous, maybe even past perfect if you're comfortable. Tell yourself little stories. Last summer, my family went to the coast. The weather was amazing and we swam every day. Or, I was reading a book when my friend called.
The more you practice these different time frames and hypothetical situations,
The more you build those specific structural pathways in English, again, it makes relying on translation feel clumsy and slow. You're building the direct routes.
this detailed internal practice,
Mm.
it sounds like it leads directly into a really vital skill for actual speaking, which is paraphrasing.
Paraphrasing is your absolute best friend when you get stuck. It's your escape hatch.
Explain what it is exactly.
It's simply using other words you do know to explain a concept or object when you can't remember the specific words you want.
So back to the umbrella example. I forget the word umbrella. My instinct might be to panic and search my mental dictionary or even switch to my native language.
Right. Panic wants you to retreat.
Mm.
But paraphrasing keeps you moving forward in English. You stop the panic and think, okay, I don't have umbrella. How else can I say it? It's that thing you hold over your head to stop the rain.
The thing for rain. Even if it's simple.
Simple is fine. The goal isn't perfect vocabulary. The goal is to keep the communication channel open in English. You haven't given up. You've just found a different route.
And that trains your brain that English is flexible, that you can manage even with vocabulary gaps.
Precisely. It builds confidence that you don't need to translate to survive a conversation. You can navigate within English.
Okay, these are great internal strategies. What about more active practice techniques? We mentioned shadowing earlier, but maybe we need more detail on how to actually do it effectively.
Shadowing is powerful because it's physical, auditory, and mental all at once. It's not just listening, it's speaking almost simultaneously.
So how does it work step by step?
Okay, first, choose a short audio or video clip, maybe 30 seconds to a minute long, something where you understand most of it, and crucially, something with a clear speaker whose accent you can follow.
A podcast clip, a YouTube video, a news segment.
Perfect. Second, listen to it once or twice, maybe with English subtitles on, just to get the gist and the rhythm.
Okay.
Third, now play it again and try to speak along with the speaker. Repeat what they say, almost as they say it. Don't worry about being perfect. Focus on mimicking their speed, their rhythm, the ups and downs of their voice, the intonation.
So I'm literally talking over them, trying to match them.
Pretty much, yeah, like their shadow. Then, the crucial fourth step. Turn the subtitles off. Now you're relying purely on your ear. Listen and repeat immediately.
Why is turning subtitles off so important?
Because it forces your brain to process the sounds directly and produce the output instantly without the visual crutch of the text. It trains that rapid decoding encoding cycle that's essential for fluency. It really builds mouth muscle memory and connects the sound directly to the meaning. It's like boot camp for your ears and mouth.
That sounds intense but effective. What's the other technique? Active self-conversation.
Yes, this is simpler but requires discipline. It's deliberately asking yourself questions in English and then answering them, either in your head or, even better, by writing them down in a simple journal.
What kind of questions?
Go beyond simple descriptions. Ask why and how was the most interesting thing I learned today, and why did I find it interesting? How do I feel about the presentation tomorrow? What specifically am I worried about? What steps could I take to feel more prepared?
So you're forcing yourself to use more complex sentences, justifications, reasons.
Exactly. You're simulating a real conversation where you need to explain yourself, form opinions, use those connectors we talked about. You're practicing B2 level thinking skills, but in a safe, low-pressure environment. It's rehearsal for the real world.
Okay, so we've done the internal work. We're naming things, using connectors in our heads, maybe even shadowing podcast clips. But then you walk into a room, someone asks you a question unexpectedly, and poof, it all disappears.
The freeze moment. Yeah. We absolutely have to talk about this because it's where the rubber meets the road. All that practice has to hold up under real-time pressure.
Why does it happen? Why does everything seem to vanish when someone's actually waiting for an answer?
It's that collision again. The pressure cooker environment cranks up the desire for perfection, right? You really don't want to sound stupid. So your brain, under stress, desperately wants to run that full, safe, three-step translation check. Did I understand correctly? What's the perfect answer? How do I phrase it?
But real conversation doesn't give you 5 seconds for that internal conference call.
Not even close. So you freeze, caught between the need for speed and the desire for safety.
So what's the mantra here? What do we need to tell ourselves in that moment?
The absolute #1 rule. Better simple than silent.
Better simple than silent.
Okay, communication is about connection, not perfection. It is far, far better to respond quickly with a very simple, maybe slightly basic or even grammatically imperfect phrase than it is to stand there mute while your brain whirs away trying to construct a masterpiece.
So even just a quick, yes, sounds good, or okay, I understand, or let me think, is better than silence.
Infinitely better. Functional English, however simple, keeps the conversation alive. Perfect silence kills it. You have to internalize that. Good enough and fast beats perfect and slow every single time in real life.
Okay, but sometimes you genuinely do need a second to think. How do you buy that second without just freezing?
That's where filler phrases come in. They're absolutely essential tools. Think of them as your conversational pause button.
And they make you sound more natural too, right? Because native speakers use them all the time.
Constantly, they signal, I heard you, I'm processing, give me a beat, rather than I'm completely lost.
So what are some good ones to have ready?
Simple ones are best. Well, um, let me see. That's a good question. If you need a bit longer, I'll think about that for a second. Or if you're really struggling to find the words, how can I put this? Or I'm not sure exactly how to phrase it, but
And the key is practicing these phrases so they come out automatically when you're under pressure. You need to deploy the filler in English, not panic in your native language.
absolutely practice saying,
Great.
let me see, out loud, get comfortable with it. It needs to be a reflex.
Okay, fillers help by time. What about reducing the intensity of that freeze moment in the first place? Can we prepare?
Yes, through mental rehearsal. This is actively visualizing and practicing common, potentially stressful situations before they actually happen.
Like what kind of situations?
Think about the times you know you'll need to speak English and might feel pressure. Ordering food in a busy restaurant,
Oh, yeah, classic stressor.
asking for directions, a job interview, making small talk at a work event, having to disagree politely with someone.
So you mentally run through the scene.
Exactly. You think about what the other person might say, and you practice your likely responses in English, in your head. If you rehearse ordering food, you preload phrases like, can I see the menu, please? What do you recommend? Is this spicy? I'll have the chicken.
So when the actual moment comes, your brain isn't starting from scratch. It's retrieving something it's already practiced.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You've already warmed up those neural pathways. The cognitive load shifts from, oh no, what do I say, to, ah yes, I practiced this phrase. It makes reacting much faster and reduces panic.
That makes a lot of sense. But let's be real, even with preparation, sometimes you're just going to get stuck. You won't understand someone, especially if they speak fast or have an unfamiliar accent.
Totally normal. Happens to native speakers too. The worst thing you could do here is the polite nod and smile while having absolutely no idea what was just said.
Right. Pretending to understand just leads to bigger problems later.
It kills communication. So you need strategies for handling difficulty gracefully. And the number one strategy is simply asking for repetition. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of confident communication.
What are some good phrases for that?
Keep them simple and polite. Sorry, could you say that again, please? Could you repeat that a bit more slowly? I didn't quite catch the last part. Sorry, what was that again?
And having those ready means you don't have to translate how to ask for repetition under pressure.
Exactly. It keeps the conversation flowing and politely puts the onus back on the speaker to clarify without you having to panic.
What if it's just one specific word or phrase you didn't get?
Ask. Don't let one unknown word derail your understanding of the whole message. It's perfectly okay to ask, sorry, what does the word mean? Or what does consequently mean in this sentence? Or even, could you spell that for me?
Again, it keeps you actively engaged in understanding, rather than retreating into your head to translate or guess.
Right. It shows you want to understand.
And finally, what if words just completely fail you for a moment?
Don't forget nonverbal communication. Your body language is still speaking, even if your mouth isn't.
So, using gestures, pointing, facial expressions.
Absolutely. A smile, a confused shrug, pointing at what you mean, nodding, shaking your head, these are universal. Use them. Communication is about getting the meaning across, and sometimes gestures help bridge the gap when words stumble.
Plus, if you look open and friendly and like you're trying, people are usually much more patient and willing to help you out, right?
Definitely. Showing effort builds connection, and connection makes communication easier, even with language barriers.
Okay, we've covered building the foundation, adding complexity, handling real-world pressure. What's the final stage? How do we make thinking in English truly automatic, truly invisible?
That's the ultimate goal, isn't it? Where it's so deeply ingrained that you don't even notice you're doing it. It just is. This stage is all about integration and sustaining the habit long term.
Making it part of your daily fabric.
Exactly. We talked about linking English to routines earlier. This is about making those links permanent and maybe expanding them. It's about consistency over intensity.
So that idea of, say, listening to a 10-minute English podcast while you have your morning coffee every single day,
Is far more powerful in the long run than trying to cram 5 hours of study into one Sunday afternoon and then doing nothing for 6 days.
because habit formation needs that regular reinforcement.
Absolutely. Tiny, regular doses build the strongest habits, which leads directly to the importance of setting small goals.
Not, I will be perfectly fluent by Christmas.
Definitely not. That's overwhelming and sets you up for failure. Think micro goals. This week, I will consciously think about my commute in English every day. I will learn 2 new connectors and use them in my internal monologue. I will watch one 5-minute news clip in English without subtitles.
The atomic habits idea again. Small, achievable wins.
Yes. Because each tiny win gives you that little dopamine hit, that feeling of success, and that feeling is the reward that makes you want to keep going. It fuels the habit loop.
And as you rack up these small wins, you need to actually notice them, right? Tracking progress.
Crucial for motivation. You need to actively track and celebrate your progress. And progress looks different for everyone. For one person, it might be understanding a movie better after a month. For someone else, it might be feeling less nervous speaking up in a meeting after 6 months.
So you need to define what progress means for you.
Yes. And then when you inevitably hit a plateau or feel like you're not improving or just lose motivation, because everyone does,
Yeah, that definitely happens.
you need to look back to move forward. Don't just focus on what you still can't do. Compare yourself now to yourself 6 months ago or a year ago.
Wow, 6 months ago, I couldn't even order coffee without panicking, and now I just had a 5-minute chat with the barista.
Exactly. Acknowledging how far you've come is incredibly powerful. It reminds you that the effort is paying off, even if it feels slow right now. It gives you the fuel to keep pushing.
Are there any telltale signs that you're really starting to think directly in English? Those moments where you realize it's becoming automatic.
There are, and they often catch you by surprise. It might be that moment you stub your toe and yell, ouch,
Yeah.
instead of the word in your native language.
Shut up.
Or you gasp or laugh spontaneously in English while watching something. Or maybe you realize you were solving a simple math problem in your head using English numbers.
Or the classic one, dreaming in English.
Dreaming in English is a big one. It suggests the language is accessing deeper subconscious levels of your mind. Any of those instantaneous, untranslated reactions are a fantastic sign that the direct pathways are solidifying.
Okay, one last piece for sustaining this. Using the right materials. Leveraging resources and interests.
Yes, this is huge for long-term motivation. The English input you consume has to be stuff you genuinely enjoy or care about.
So if you hate politics, don't force yourself to read dense political analysis in English.
Please don't. You're making it twice as hard. If you love gardening, find English gardening blogs or YouTube channels. If you're passionate about football, follow English sports commentators or fan forums. If you love cooking, watch English cooking shows.
Because if you're genuinely interested in the content,
Your natural curiosity takes over.
Yeah.
You want to understand what they're saying about that recipe or that match report. That desire to understand the topic makes the language learning part feel less like work. It keeps you immersed because you're actually enjoying it.
that makes perfect sense. Find your passion in English.
Exactly.
So let's wrap this up with a final thought on confidence and the whole journey itself, because this isn't just about learning grammar rules, is it?
Not at all.
Yeah.
It's a fundamental rewiring of how your brain processes the world. And that takes real courage. You have to be willing to be vulnerable, to make mistakes.
And those mistakes,
Mm.
they're not failures.
They are the opposite of failures. Every time you stumble, every time you use the wrong word but keep trying to speak directly, that's proof you're learning. It's evidence of you actively building those new connections in your brain. It's so much better than staying silent and safe in your comfort zone.
So embrace the imperfection.
Embrace it. It's the price of admission to fluency.
And remember, it's a journey, it's long, it's ongoing.
It's a process of growth. Every little habit, every new phrase you internalize, every connector you master, it's like adding another stone to the bridge, connecting you to a wider world. Don't see it as a test you pass or fail. See it as adding this incredibly powerful, enriching dimension to who you are. Hashtag hedge, hashtag outro. So just to quickly recap the core ideas from this deep dive, that mental translation trap. It's a habit, mostly driven by your brain's love for comfort and, let's be honest, a bit of fear.
Right.
You break it by consciously building new habits. Flood your brain with input. Link simple English thought to your daily routines.
Use those more complex linking words to force your brain to structure thoughts directly in English. And have that paraphrasing skill ready for when you inevitably get stuck.
Exactly. And keep yourself motivated by setting tiny, achievable goals and celebrating your progress, however small it feels day to day. Look back at how far you've come.
Okay, so here's that final thought we want to leave you with, something to maybe mull over.
Hmm.
Thinking in English isn't just about being good at grammar. It's actually about opening up a whole new way of experiencing the world, a new layer to your identity. It's about reaching a point where your reactions can be spontaneous in English.
Yeah, the real magic happens when English stops being this thing you study and just becomes one of the ways you think, when it shows up in your dreams, when you react instinctively without that translation delay. That's the goal.
So keep practicing those small daily steps. Remember the courage it takes just to try. You really are doing something amazing for yourself.
Absolutely. Keep at it.
Focus on those atomic habits, build that consistency, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive. Bye for now.